to Michelle. Michelle here, she is one of my top producers, and what she does is something so simple. Everybody teaches it, but nobody does it. So I'm going to teach you all to learn what she is doing so that you can see how simple this technique is so that you can get referrals year long. So Michelle, with that being said, please take it away. Let us give us that secret.
Okay. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. I don't know if you've met me before. Been with Intero now for 2.5 years or so. Is that right? 2.5 years? Yeah, I think so.
Wow.
Going on 3 in March. And, started my business off kind of like you guys. I really just had a couple of friends that wanted to buy a house here and there. Didn't really know, how I was going to keep business afloat. And, kind of had, heard, all these different things. Like, do you do mailers? Do you do, and all of it was just, it didn't seem personal enough to me. And what I recognized is that in this business, being personal and like having people know you as a person. So I started, getting coffee with people, and I realized that took a lot of time. Trying to go to people's houses, and that took a lot of time. And so I was like, well, what can I do that's personal? That is going to remind people, because, right, like you'll have a friend that tells you, oh yeah, I bought a house. I totally forgot you were a realtor. That is I hate that when I have friends that tell me that, because I'm like, well, why did they forget? They forgot because everybody has friends that are realtors. Everybody knows a realtor, everybody, and so I'm like, okay, what can I do to kind of remind people, hey, I'm here. I'm a professional and I know what I'm doing. And I also am thinking about you, which I think a lot of people really appreciate. And they're like, wow, like, this is awesome that this person who helped me buy my house, 4 or 5 years ago, because I've been now in business for 5 years. I have clients who I still do pop buys for that were 5 years ago, that I helped them buy their house. And so I guess, to bring the cat out of the bag, they called pop buys. So Brian Buffini, who I'm a huge fan of, if you guys have not listened to any of his stuff, has an awesome set of programs. I think they're like Mastery 101 or whatever, but he has pop buys. And he suggests them, a couple times a year. And those are things that I do. So what I've done is I have a client list it's a spreadsheet actually, of every one of my clients, when their current home address, and when they closed, so their house anniversary, so I can send stuff for that. So I know exactly when they closed, whether it was 2016 or 2020. And then I also, towards the end of that spreadsheet, have my pop buys, and I'm able to track when I dropped off my pop buys for them. My goal, and then Sarah in our office does it too, is 4 times a year. So we kind of do them seasonally. It does take time. It doesn't take as much money as it takes time. But, if you have somebody who you can team up with, if you have an assistant, if you have a husband, a wife, kids, things like that, like it's very easy to get these done. And what I will say is, now that I've been in the business, my client base could be 50, 75 people. That's a lot. I don't do those every single time. The goal is I break down my spreadsheet based on people who have either just recently closed with me, are very high refers. So they've given me a lot of business. So say one of my really good friends has given me 3 clients this year, she's getting a pop by almost every time. You know what I mean? Like, thanks, really appreciate all you've been doing for me. Let's keep this up type of thing, as like a real business relationship. And then people who have just closed like higher end homes, I'm trying to get into some of the more $1 million plus homes. And so if I have clients that have bought $800,000-$900,000 homes from me, I'm like, well, I want their friends. So those are people who are also going to be the ones that I do, pop buys for. And so I kind of spread those out. So I might do, for this time, I'll show you guys what I'm doing, but I have 25. And so, yeah, it's a lot, but I will say I dropped off 11 yesterday. I started at 3 p.m. and I do a lot of business in the Heights. I dropped off 11 in about 3 hours. So if that, and I probably ran into quite a few people because everybody's home for COVID, right? And I was like trying to run up to their front doors and, whatever, but they were so shocked and so happy. I had one client who called me at 9:30 last night, and she was like, Michelle, I had the worst day. I came home and found your pop by on my front porch, and let me just tell you, it made my day. Like, it was small, it was, but I can't thank you enough, because what you did was so, it just, and then now she's thinking about me. you know? And so that's where we kind of started with it. We do seasonally based on kind of, it just depends, you know. I would say almost every year we do Valentine's Day to kind of start it off. Valentine's Day is great because you can kind of do cheesy stuff, you can do fun stuff, whatever. I like to do summer ones. Sarah does do a Mother's Day one, and I was going to bring that up. She does do some flowers, I think like either an orchid or a little flower from Kroger for Mother's Day. My clients are younger, and so my clients don't tend to have a lot of kids. I mean, some of them do, but Mother's Day is probably not one of my bigger holidays. And so, you know, Valentine's Day, I might do like cookies, or I might do little candy bags. I think last year we did a rosé bottle with a bottle of chocolates. If you Google pop by on Pinterest, you can come up with tons of ideas. So that's kind of where we get a lot of our tags from. I find printable tags all the time. I'm not about recreating things. Like I copy and redo. So I'll take printable tags, put my logo on it, and we're done. You know what I mean? I don't waste my time on that. During the summer, I usually tend to do margaritas. So I have little margarita buckets. I need to take pictures of these so I could show you guys, but the margarita bucket probably costs me a total of maybe like $8 to $10. Again, it just depends on how much you put in it. Clients loved it. Girl Scout cookies are really great for the spring, so you could kind of do that, you know, too. Girl Scout, you know, was really easy. Those are about $4 a piece. So for right now, for the fall, we are doing a You've Been Boozed. And so I have 2 of our pop buys right here. I was going to show you guys, and I'll start with, if you remember, I said that I have clients that are kind of on the higher end and clients that are on the lower end. We made 2 sets of pop buys. So I have one that looks like this. So this is just a little black bag, and it has a little soda in here, a little Tito's. We have a couple pieces of candy, and then we have a tag. And if you can read it, it says, "You've been boozed. Happy Halloween, Michelle Miller Properties Group." And so Sarah has some, I have some. You can easily, we made some for Marianne to do, and we put Intero there, so you can do that. But yeah, it's just a little bag. I think it has a little bit, you probably can't tell, a little confetti at the bottom, cute little black bag, tag tied up. This bag cost me about, I would say, I think between $6 and $8. And I'm doing 20 or 18 of these for my clients. And then the one that's just a little higher end, which I thought was really cool, thank you, Javier, is we got the Crystal Head vodka. So it's a little different, and I don't know if you can kind of tell because it's in the same black bag, but it has a skull, and it's a skull vodka. So it's pretty cool because clients are like, oh man, that's awesome. Yep, there it is. So we have these in this bag. I didn't grab another, but this one has a soda in it. We did put some Bloody Mary mix because we thought that'd be funny to do with Halloween, the Bloody Mary or whatever, but not everybody likes it. So we kind of did a lot of sodas. And then if I know people like Bloody Mary or, you know, whatever, we'll do that. But they're both vodkas, and they both have the exact same tag on them. And, you know, You've Been Boozed. I had so many clients that were just like, and I just called them adult Halloween bags. And my clients were just like, oh my God, like that's genius. I love it. Probably ran into 4 or 5 of them yesterday, and they were just like, thank you, this is so nice. Like they're not used to getting random gifts on a, you know, Wednesday. And so, like I said, they just have a little bit of candy in them. This bag with this one cost me closer to about $10. We got these black bags off of Amazon. They got delivered on Prime. The candy was obviously just from like Kroger, whatever. We did find the skulls at Specs, and the soda came from, I think Marianne got it from Kroger or something. Right. And then the ribbon that we tied it around with, and then the tags we just printed. So I did not pay for any of that other than, you know, some of the paper and whatever else. And then for Christmas, what I really like is I've been doing bundt cakes. So Sarah does pies, I do bundt cakes. I found a really cute tag on Pinterest that said, wishing you nothing but the best for your holidays with your family or something like that. It's really cute. And I will tell you, I tend to stick with like food or alcohol for a lot of my clients, candy related, you know, something kind of funny like that, because it's easy for them to just eat it, think about you, and then kind of move on with their lives. I'm not trying to come up with, you know, toys or things that they have, you know, junk, like nobody wants to keep those things. And so I find when it's alcohol related, people really like it. When it's food related, people really like it too. So last year, Sarah and I did do we did the pies instead. So I did not do the bundt cakes, I did pies, and we did them for Thanksgiving. So that would be something where if you're doing it once a quarter, maybe you skip Halloween and you do the Thanksgiving one. And what we ended up doing was we had people come for a pie happy hour. And so we hosted it at Union Kitchen off of Ella, and everybody came. We probably had, I know that each of us had probably bought, I think we bought 50 pies or 60 pies and split that. So we both had probably 25 to 30 clients show up, and it was like a 2-hour event. Got some bottles of wine, cheese boards. Union Kitchen was great, and had the pies, and people came to us. And I will say it was huge. Like, people loved it. It was more expensive because I had to do the wine with the cheese, and then the pies were more expensive. So I will say that's kind of a once a year type of thing if we do that. The pot buys, I would say for all 25 of mine, I think that my total cost was a little over $100.
That's
so
amazing.
When you think about that, when you think about that, 4 times a year, I'm spending, give it $500 or $600.
Yeah.
That's not even the cost of one of my closings. Like,
exactly.
if I get one client from that, that covers everything. So for me, 4 times a year, the time that it takes, it's been worth every penny, because I will say that I have gotten so much referral business from it, just because people think it's really nice. They're like, wow, you thought about me. And I'm like, yeah, I did. My spreadsheet reminded me, but that's cool. You know, like, I did think about you. They really like it.
Yeah, guys, this is one of those things that I just, everybody teaches it. Everybody talks about it. She said in the beginning of this that she learned it from Buffini. Buffini is like a $600-700 kind of program that you guys can go through if you guys want to. But they teach the same things that everybody basically talks about. And one of them is these pop buys. Michelle spent, the maximum she spent is probably $10 on one of these bags. This, and the Tito's, the little vodka is probably like $2, if that. So it's nothing really. So you guys need to understand that it can be your friends, your family, your cousins, something, anybody. It doesn't have to be a past client. So for those of you that are new, that I'm talking to you guys especially, it's go ahead. Yeah.
And let me just interrupt you and say that a decent amount of my pop buys, so I do a lot of leases for landlords. And in the past, I kind of probably didn't take advantage of it enough. I have gotten quite a few clients from leases. So like, say you're representing the landlord, or say you represented the tenant. Tenants buy. I don't know if people realize that. They will buy. And so I do these, and I have, I think, 3 sets of tenants who I represented who, obviously if they had a realtor, I'm not going to drop it off. But a lot of times when I represent the landlord, they don't have a realtor. So they're kind of like my clients, whatever, right? Couple groups of, guys. I have a psychiatrist, a couple different people. I drop those by those leases too. So if you had apartments that you were doing, if you had leases that you were doing, it doesn't have to be someone who bought and sold with you, because the whole point is they're going to buy or sell with you. And that means for the future, and that means for their friends. So it doesn't necessarily have to be someone who, closed some big deal with you. I agree, it can be friends, it can be whatever, but it definitely can also be leases.
Exactly. All right. Well, guys, thank you all for joining me here. Michelle, thank you so much. I really appreciate you doing this for me. I know your business is thriving, and I know this does help you get your referral business going as well. I just want to thank everybody for joining us. If you have any questions, any concerns, or any ideas, hey, message us, let us know, and we'll go from there. Thank you, guys.